Hello, hey, this is Paul Michael Davis, MCtv News, and this is the season for politics. This is coming up on November 4th, Election Day, and we're here with Christy Levings, candidate for the 6th District House Representative. And Christy, how you doing?
I'm great. Welcome to my house.
Your house, this is a lovely place. We have several questions for you. We're going to talk to Christy about some of her reasons for running, for not just her reasons for running, but how she feels about certain issues that are going on in the Kansas legislature. And first topic about the gate there, Christy, is education. What's your background in education?
I'm an educator. I've been an educator for a long time. I've been licensed in the state of Kansas for 40 years now. Mm-hmm. I have both a teacher license and an administrator license. I've been very involved not only in the classroom for many years, but taught 4th grade in Lewisburg for 10 years before I went to the Olathe district in 25. But very involved in education and in my profession. I believe very strongly that accomplished teachers who have great skills and have great ability to work with students are what makes a difference in the classroom. And so my background is very much about what's important for teaching. I've had great opportunities in my life. I was elected to represent all the teachers in Kansas as president of the Kansas National Education Association, which gave me a lot of opportunities to testify on what good teaching looks like, to testify about what students need, quality reading and math instruction. Just a great opportunity to talk about what's good for the profession. I currently serve as the Vice Chair of the National Board of Professional Teaching Standards,
mm-hmm. Yes.
Which is where the most accomplished teachers in the country receive national board certification. So I'm recognized nationally for my ability to talk about those issues and what teachers need to be highly accomplished.
And so, okay, having all that's a huge list of credentials, background, credibility for having an opinion about the education in this state. Having said that, what is your opinion of the education in the state as far as from the legislature point?
Well, one of the reasons that I really decided to run was about the issue of education and what was happening with education in the state. We've been one of the top states in the country for a long time. In the last 20 years, most of the time Kansas has been recognized as the 5th highest state as far as our accomplishment. This year, for the first time, we dropped. For the first time in 11 years, our kids' assessment scores fell down. And that's because the budget is being squeezed so hard. I mean, we're down $548 a student. With the rate of inflation, the buying power for a school district is $861 less for students to buy what needs to happen inside the instructional program. Seeing that fall after being rated so high and watching it move up for so many years was really shocking to me, and it said to me that there were different decisions that need to be made in Topeka.
Like what? I mean, just you mentioned you brought it up. So, like, what decisions do you see need to be made as of right now?
Well, I would say one thing about me is I'm a problem solver, and I'm very pragmatic. It comes from years in the classroom. I mean, it's about getting things done. Uh-huh. What I don't like, what we've seen in the state over the last few years, is this push-pull. We have a constitution that requires an adequate education for citizens and for our students growing up. The legislature, by its ideology of some members, has just sat for the last few years until it had to go to the courts, and the courts had to say, oh, wait a minute, you have a constitutional responsibility, you must do this, and then they've been forced to act. That's a really crazy way to do business. Mm-hmm. It's a very crazy way to do business. One of the things I want to talk about is, first of all, instead of saying, well, let's get by with just this, or let's push this money over from this line item to this line item, mm-hmm. Let's talk about what it is the school districts are telling us they need. The legislature needs to listen to what they hear from school districts about what their needs are and what their differences are across the state. And certainly they need to understand that they are making very tough decisions at the school district level, and they're not getting the support from the legislature that they need.
Now, your opponent, the incumbent, Jim Vickery, what are the differences between you and him?
There are things that are different between Gene and I, and there are things that are the same. I mean,
similarities.
Similarities. Well, I think there are a number of similarities. One of which is that we're both respect life candidates. Although I look at it a little differently. It doesn't stop only respecting life at the point of conception. In my mind, respect of life, it means that you respect people and support people all the way through life and what their needs are. In the last 10 years, we have more children living in poverty than we've had in the state of Kansas for a very long time. That's not acceptable to me, and that is also respect. We've seen programs cut for those with disabilities. That's, in my mind, also respect. So while we're not different as respect of life candidates, we are different in that how we see that apparently. We're not different about support of the Second Amendment. I support individuals' rights under the Second Amendment. Why would you not? I don't not support any part of the U.S. Constitution or the state Constitution. I believe that if you want to be an elected official, you should. So those are things that we're not different on. I do think we're different in that I'm not satisfied with the status quo. I'm not satisfied with taking programs that actually are the responsibility of the state and pushing them down to the county without any resources or personnel to do them, which is causing property tax increases at the county level. I don't support that. I don't support the Medicare compact. I think that's an insane idea. We've seen the example of where that kind of program hurts, because Lake Mary and Trico here in Miami County were hurt at the change of CanCare. That was not an easy program to change. It was very difficult to do, and it hasn't been helpful. To think that we're going to take our citizens who are under Medicare out of Medicare and put them into a state-operated system like CanCare, where somebody's going to make money off that program as an administrator, is an insane idea. We're very different when it comes to that.
Okay, let's skip gears. Let's change gears and go to the reason why you felt that you were drawn, or that you had a urging or push to get into politics.
I decided to, for a lot of reasons, to get into this race, but for a couple of really big ones. One, I absolutely disagree with doing the work of the legislature in the middle of the night with no public comment, no committee hearings, not following their own processes and making decisions. In my mind, that is not how our state should operate. And I was really appalled that that was happening. And not only is my opponent a part of the legislature who voted on those things that took place in the middle of the night, due to his leadership position, he orchestrates and runs the calendar to usher those bills through. That is not an acceptable way to do business. So that was a real concern. My opponent voted on a budget that is based on a huge shortfall. We're already $280 million plus in the hole for this fiscal year that only started July 1. That money has to be cut out of the state budget. What programs are going to be devastated by doing that? Why would you ever approve a budget that was not based on solid facts? You know, there were a lot of people, including a lot of moderate Republicans, who worked very hard to create a funding stream in our state that was based on a balance of property sales and income tax. The legislature in the last 2 years, and my opponent supported it, cut into the area of income tax without making up for it. So the three-legged stool, as they call it, is falling over because that leg was cut off. But nothing was done to shore up the other two, except to pass the responsibilities off. Property tax is not a good way to do it. People don't like that. They understand they have to do some, but they want it to be balanced. Those things alone, the financial problems, the way of doing business, the decisions that were being made for things that matter the most to Miami County, those were the reasons I got into the race.
So, Christy, well, first off, how does your family feel about you being in politics? And well, a prelude to that, do you have any past experience in politics or anything that matter?
Well, I have a real big background both in policy. I've worked with educational policy at both the state and the national level. I have a lot of background in audit and budgeting, because I've been the leader of educational organizations, plus I've worked on a lot of boards, like the National Board of Special Teaching Standards. I'm on the Board of Trustees for the National Teachers Hall of Fame, just various groups over the years. So I have a big policy background, understanding what that looks like, what policy really looks in place. And my family's been so supportive of me professionally. Dave and I have been married 42 years. We have 2 grown kids, one daughter who lives in Paola and one son who lives in Lawrence. And with their spouses, they are the parents of our 3 marvelous, fabulous grandchildren. And they've all been very supportive of me. The 9 of us are pretty close-knit. We get together frequently. And they've always been very supportive.
That's cool. Did you ever envision yourself becoming, getting into politics as far as on the state level?
Well, let me answer that 2 ways. First of all, my mother taught us that we had to leave wherever we were better than we found it. I mean, that was it. I mean, if we went camping in the summertime, we couldn't leave the campsite until it was cleaner than we found it. Whatever we did, it was supposed to be better than what we found it. That's really sort of been a real driving force for me. I got involved in my profession because I thought I could make it better. I got involved in schools. I went to teaching because I thought I could make it better for students and families. That's a driving force for me. I will tell you, when I was in the 6th grade, I had a friend who worked in the legislature, and she brought me into Page.
Really?
Yeah, and I was a page in the legislature a couple of times, I think. But what she said to me is that, public policy only works if the public gets involved in it. And so I've always believed that. I've always believed that all of us have a responsibility to vote. I've had some really amazing opportunities to represent the United States, make me very proud of being a citizen. 3 years ago, I represented the United States in Cape Town, South Africa at the Education International World Congress.
Really?
It was an amazing opportunity to hear people from around the world, and in developing countries to hear them repeatedly say that they would give everything they had for a chance to go to school, and particularly for girls, and the number of girls and women in this world who still don't have the opportunity to go to school.
Yeah.
Really impressed upon me how valuable our citizenship in this country is. Really impressed upon me how important it is to be involved. So I think that drives me a little bit. It's always about making things better for me.
Now, do you have any hopes or aspirations of going further? I mean, past being a state representative, if you are elected, going past that, or even if you don't get elected, staying in the race and staying, and going on to another duty?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
Well, first of all, I do really support term limits, because I think term limits create the opportunity for it to be about the job, not about the person. And when you've done it too long, it becomes about the person, not about the job. I ideally like to do like 2 terms, because I think, first of all, there's going to be such a hole in January when we get in there, and such a mess to clean up, that I'm not sure the legislature can do what they need to do in just 2 years to get it cleaned up. But to do a couple of terms, I think that gets it a level playing field. They'll be ready for the next person. Because I think you do that. It's not supposed to be long-term, lifetime career people. It's supposed to be everybody running their leg of the relay and passing on the baton. In my mind, that's exactly how this is working. And one of the things we're not doing is encouraging people to be involved. So there are a lot of people who are ready to have the baton passed to them. When it stays with one person too long, that's a mistake.
So, how do you feel about being possibly one of the first elected women from the district?
I have had people at the door say, "I want to support you because you're a woman." I think that the difference between Gina and I is not that, although I think that it's great to know we're getting past where that's really come up as an issue. Because it really hasn't. I haven't had people say to me, "Are you running just because you're a woman?" I haven't had anybody say that to me. the difference between us is not that, it's the difference between us and the background. I mean, I have a big background in policy, I have a big background in social services, I have a big background in education, I have a big background in helping people be successful and work with good policies. And I think that's what people are interested in. And it would be fun. It would be fun to be the first woman.
How does it feel knowing that the young women will be looking up to you?
Oh gosh, that'd be really an honor. I say to my granddaughter, I said to my daughter growing up, if you work hard, if you know what you're doing, if you're willing to work hard, people respect you for who you are, not by whether you're a male or female. I hope that people would see that. As I talked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, actually I probably should say thousands and thousands and thousands of people over the last few months, what they say to me is that they want to know that I understand what the issues are and I can talk about them, that I have suggestions for ways we can go about them, that I have a track record of being a collaborator and a problem solver. They want to know that I have a real interest in Miami County and that I'm very committed to making it better and maintaining the great life that we have here. That's what they ask me about. I don't think gender fits into that for them, but I do think that they want to know somebody really cares deeply about the life we have here and how do we protect it.
Well, Christy, thank you for letting us come to your house and get to know you a little bit more. Let the voters of Miami County know more about you and learn about the reasons that you're doing the things you're doing. It's been a pleasure.
It's been great. Thanks for letting me tell everyone, and I'm excited about the possibility of representing Miami County.
There you go. Now, I want everybody here, everybody watching, all the viewers, November 4th, if you haven't got out there and voted for your early voting or advanced voting, whatever it's called, go November 4th and vote, all right? This country, this state, this county, it rides on you. Everything you do, everything you say, everything you vote, the people you vote for, you're deciding on the outcome of our children, our grandchildren, and so on and so forth. This has been Paul Michael Davis on another edition of MCtv News, and MCtv is the place to be. See you soon.